Hey guys, the video on solving quadratic using other techniques other than factor method or cross method. The first thing in this video is going to be something called using square roots to solve the problems. Now, you use square roots if you end up with a x square or something square on one side, and that could easily help you solve x. So in this case, the opposite of square is square root. Now, maybe you didn't learn to put plus or minus in front, but every time there is an even power on x, so whether it's 2 or 4 or 6, you should put plus or minus, right? The rationale behind is even if you have -7, for example, I change this to 4. Even you have -2 squared, it turns to +4 as well as 2 squared. So x can be two numbers, -2 and 2. That's the rationale behind, okay? There's two possible solutions. The only reason why you didn't do plus or minus before is you're talking about distance, and distance must be positive. So by default, it was always positive. But now you should know that there's plus or minus. Okay, again, I move square to the right because plus or minus square root 17. And leave your answer in third form, so that's it. Again, do not put square root if there is still a number on the left. You gotta make sure that everything on the left is with a square. You gotta move the 2 first because the 2 does not consist of square. If the 2 does have a square, then you put the square root on the right immediately. But currently 2 does not. We gotta move it first so that we have x squared on the left. 128 divided by 2 is 64. The final answer here is plus or minus square root 64, and then the final answer is plus or minus 8. Now, if you have a bracket though, it's similar. Now you gotta make sure that everything on the left has a square. This time, a bracket has a square, so that's literally everything has a square. But if only, let's say there's no bracket here, only the 1 has a square here and the 5x does not, then you cannot use this method, okay? Make sure everything, again, on the left is with a square. Then you can do the square root method. Plus or minus 16, square root 16, and then 5x minus 1 on the left side. Now, this one is a bit complicated because you don't have x on the left yet. So we're gonna split it into two equations now. One is a positive square root 16, or, so you remember that quadratic should have two solutions. I mean, generally has two solutions. It can have 1 or 0, but generally it has two solutions, maximum. You have a negative square root 16 here. Do not put a negative in the square root. That will give you undefined answers. 5x minus 1, square root 16 is 4. Solve x, you would have 5x equals to 5, x equals to 1. So one answer is there. This one here will be -4 plus 1. 5x equals to -3. X equals to -3 over 5. So those are your two solutions. Again, over here, 25 does not have square, so you gotta move 25 to the right side first and make it 2 over 25. Then you can perform the square root, plus or minus square root. You have x plus 1 over 3 equals to that. And yes, that's what you will get. This is a bit more challenging, so I'm not gonna go through that. Same over here. You move the numbers without the square to the right side, slowly one by one, and you will have an answer. Honestly, for this question, I would just expand the bracket and put everything on one side and use my calculator. It's much easier that way. Okay, moving on to quadratic formula. Your calculator actually uses quadratic formula to calculate the two answers for a quadratic. One is with a plus, the other one is with a minus. So the quadratic formula goes like this. X, the value of x can be equals to -b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So plus or minus depends on the number of answers depends on this one. So if this one, you learn triangle, right? This is actually triangle, this thing over here. Discriminant is triangle. So if triangle equals 0, then this whole thing is 0. So plus or minus doesn't matter for 0, right? You will only have one solution. If this is less than 0, you have a negative number in your square root. That becomes undefined. And when triangle is greater than 0, you would have two answers, because it's not undefined and it's not 0. So definitely it will give you two answers. Okay, so I will now teach you how to memorize that. You find your own way to memorize it. I will teach you how to use quadratic formula. So over here, quadratic formula is, you have to figure out the value of a, b, and c. A is next to x squared, so that's 2 here. B is next to x, that's a -5, not a +5. Don't forget the negative, and c equals 7. X is equals to negative b, so negative 5. See, there is an extra negative here, so even though b is already with a -5 there, like a negative, you still have to put the extra negative, okay, with a bracket. Plus or minus, square it off. B square, -5 square, minus 4ac over 2a. Now just simplify the numbers. Negative times negative is positive, plus or minus, square it off, 25, minus 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 7 is 56 over 4. Now I'm going to end up with a negative square, like a square root negative number. 25 minus 56 is -31 over 4. Now, if you use your formula 0, 1 for this question, 2, -5, and 7, it gives you math error. That is because negative square root will be math error, basically undefined, imaginary. These are called imaginary roots, not really covered in the DSC. Well, maybe in the next chapter, but not for all the students. It's non-foundation. But they are roots, it's just not real. It's just imaginary to call it. So we write no real solutions. You have to put the word real there. There's actually solutions, it's just not real. Okay? Now let's try another question. Hopefully this will give you negative b squared minus 4ac. This should give you two solutions. So straight up x equals 2, negative b. I think make it a habit to put a bracket, plus or minus, square it off. B squared minus 4ac over 2a. Negative 11 plus or minus 121 minus 20 times 240 over, 4. 121 minus 40 is 81. That's a very nice number. Plus or minus square root 81 over 4. Square root 81 is 9, so negative 11 plus or minus 9 over 4. Now you can separate it now. One with a plus, one and a minus. So negative 11 plus 9 over 4. Negative 11 plus 9 divided by 4 is negative 1 over 2. Negative 11 minus 9 this time over 4. So negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5. You can always double check with your formula 01. So if you do formula 01, if you have extra time, in your exam, it gives you the two numbers that you have, supposedly. If you don't, you gotta check your steps. I trust the calculator more than you guys. So, unless you put the program yourself in the calculator, then maybe I don't trust the calculator. That's it for this video. Sayonara. Bye-bye.